got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. That is the Logan Lee Nerd Corner, Geek Corner.
I love that that's my intro music.
You are the only one who has their own special intro music.
I love it. I need to set up a green screen so that I have like Andy's room behind me or something.
Yes, I didn't think about it. I didn't plan this out.
Next time.
It's
I
our
wanted
day
to
off.
show off all my pop figures behind me.
Yeah.
My bobbleheads and, that you can't see because my big head's in the way of them.
It's fine. There's hooks to hang something up, but I don't.
It's a work in progress, Steve. You'll get there one day.
I just need like the Cash App, like part of my take to sponsor me, and we'll get that.
Okay. Good luck. So what's up? How you been?
I've been good. I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
We're stressing about sports, so we're dealing with that. Stressing with remote learning.
It's not fun, man. I don't envy you. I do not envy anybody in the education system in Illinois. That includes my own parents. So,
but they're in school though, right?
They're doing hybrid.
Yeah. Okay. I saw a picture of your dad playing badminton.
Yeah.
And I started laughing.
Yeah. I saw that. That was good.
Yeah. No, I've been working from home. And then tomorrow I go back.
Yeah?
Yeah. 6th grade will filter in tomorrow, but we have to be in the building.
Have you guys been remote this whole time?
We've been remote this whole time except for like social kids with IEPs. But that's only been a handful. So like if you're not working with a kid, you don't go in since November.
Yeah.
So I've been waking up, put on my man slippers, and walking to the computer.
That's pretty much what I do every day.
And the plan is tomorrow, 6th grade will filter in. I'm 8th grade, so I'll be upstairs in my bubble and not see them. Then the next week, 7th, 8th grade will filter in.
Huh? One step at a time. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and we asked a question about scheduling, and the people above us said, "Oh, we didn't think of that." So now we're just waiting to see what happens. It's very stressful. I'm very I think that's why I didn't sleep last night, thinking knowing like this week I'm going to be anxious about. Not even COVID. I'm not trying to downplay COVID. That was the last thing. I was like, I'm just more worried about how this is going to look.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's rough.
Well, at least your parents only deal with like 300 kids.
Yeah.
And
only half of them at a time.
Right. This middle school has 1,000 kids.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, because middle school up here is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Yeah. So does a lot of places. I think Oakwood's rare to just have the 7th and 8th, but that's all they can fit in that building. So
True. But the scary thing with us with COVID is every teacher shares a room with another teacher. So one teacher teaches in one room in the morning and then moves to a different one.
Okay.
Now the last one they work in the day, it's kind of confusing. Like 8th grade, for example, those teachers teach 1 or 2 classes in another room. Then the last 4 is actually their room.
Gotcha.
But the way how the building works, it's not that big.
Okay.
That's the only way they can make it work. So the thing is, are you going to have teachers wandering around, contact tracing? Because we have to fill out a thing right when we get there. This is what time we got there. This is where we start. And then when we leave, we have to put every single place we've been.
Yeah.
So if I walk to the upstairs bathroom, I have to put I've been in there. If I walk to the cafeteria, if I walk to the office, if I go to the library, I have to put that.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep track of what time, almost. And it's a pain.
I bet it is.
It's a pain. Watching Chicago Bears is a pain. Illinois basketball is a pain.
It's not fun, but I will say the Bears did get to the playoffs, so that was kind of a surprise. And Illinois has been disappointing, but the season's still early. I don't think this team is done, but they have not looked good. I'll give you that.
Well, me, Brad, and Nathan talked about it. Nathan had a big rant.
I'm sure. We've tweeted back and forth. I know where he's coming from. I get it.
We all kind of agreed to I know we're getting off topic, which is fine. We just kind of said, like, if this was every year, every single year, if we had a top 10 team, yes, we could be frustrated. He was like, we're still building. We're just kind of, this is that lucky time, I guess. Like, I don't know. I can't remember how he said it.
I agree. I think that's true. And the thing that I was thinking about recently is Illinois really hasn't had a good team, since the championship run.
Right.
Now there's been some more tournament appearances in there, but they haven't had a good team since the championship run. So I think when this season started, that's kind of what fans were expecting because that's the last real good season they remember.
We've had decent teams throughout the year. We're like, oh, we've won 15 games, 18 games.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, as I said, there's been tournament teams, but this is, and I mentioned it on Twitter, and it blows my mind. I mean, they have two of the best 20 players in the country, and Io is probably a first-team All-American by the end of the year, and Kofi can be up to that potential, probably, something third team, something like that. But either way, they're both players in the top 20, 25 players in the entire country, and they're playing like this at home. I mean, Ohio State's good, don't get me wrong, but they can't afford to spot teams 15 points, 20 points in the first half and then expect to. I mean, Northwestern, that was amazing what they were able to do against Northwestern, and they almost pulled it off against Ohio State. I mean, that was they almost had that. They were teasing me at the end, but they can't afford to spot teams that many points in the first half.
No, I told Nathan, I said, I think we're fans like us four can sit here and say we're just frustrated with the talent and how the talent is playing.
Yeah.
Now the people that are saying Brad Underwood needs to be fired because he has this talent where they're not winning.
No,
that's where our frustration came from.
I'm not on that. I'm not on that bandwagon. I'm fine with Brad. I don't think this is. I mean, yes, some of this is Brad's responsibility, and obviously he's the head coach, and they're underperforming right now, so that is definitely on him. But I don't think that needs to get to that level where we're calling for his job.
No, I think there's some Illinois fans that said like, this is terrible. Like,
if they continue to underperform the rest of the season like this, then I could open up those conversations. But I don't think I'm ready to have that conversation yet.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they have 5 losses, but I mean, those losses are to Baylor, who is one of the two best teams in the country. They lost on the road at Rutgers, which isn't necessarily a bad loss. The Mizzou loss on the road, they just didn't have a lot of heart in that game. That was the tough part is that this was the easy part of the schedule. And they just lost 2 home games in a row. They should have won both of them. They should have won at least one of them. And now the schedule gets more difficult because nobody knew Michigan was what they are. I think they finally lost, but I mean it's going to get even tougher. So just got to take what you get. I still think. I mean, I do still think they're one of the best teams in the country, and I still think they have potential to have a good tournament run. But they have to put things together. They have to be more consistent. They can't spot teams 15 points in the first half. They just can't do it. You cannot afford to do that. Not every team is you're going to be able to overpower like Northwestern.
The only teams that could do that were the Bulls in the 90s. Because I just read the book on Michael Jordan, The Life, and it was just real funny.
Yeah.
Every other chapter was, they straight up said it. They were like, the Bulls are losing by 18 in the third or the fourth. Then Michael and them look at each other and say, okay, let's turn it on. And they would literally just go.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, does Illinois think they can just do that?
No. I mean, as I said, they almost beat Ohio State after being down whatever it was in the first half. So, that ended up being a lot closer than it should have been. And they came within one maybe out of bounds call away from possibly winning that game. So, they obviously have the talent to do it. I'm not comparing this team to the Bulls by any stretch of the imagination, but they have the talent. I mean, they can do that, but they can't keep trying to put themselves in this situation in Big Ten games. Just can't do it.
Nope. So that's where we all kind of agreed. Like, we were spoiled last year because we didn't know that was going to happen. Like, be a good team, and without COVID, I think they would have made a good run.
Yeah.
And then, so I think we all kind of agreed we were spoiled. So then this year there was just these high expectations.
Absolutely. When you have both of those players come back for this year, absolutely. And then you have two freshmen that come in that are supposed to be, top talent, and for the most part they've both been good. But yeah, they need to find a way to click a little better, because it's not been a great stretch. They should have been games where they should have won. And they can't afford to keep playing like that in the Big Ten.
No, and that's the thing I told Nathan and Brad was they need to realize the Big Ten's the best basketball conference now.
Oh, yeah.
Every game that you play in the Big Ten is do or die.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't have these non-conference games that we're all used to them playing first and then playing the Big Ten.
No.
You're playing the Big Ten every week. So that's why these 5 losses aren't necessarily bad. Because
no, they aren't terrible losses. Maryland was bad. Maryland's not a very good team.
Maryland and I think Missouri bothers me.
Yeah, the reason Missouri bothers me is because, and I was talking about this with somebody else, Illinois doesn't look like they respect that rivalry the way that it was respected when we were growing up.
Yes.
And I think those Mizzou players, the Mark Smiths of the world, the Tillmans of the world, the ones that, were recruited by Illinois, and one of them went to Illinois. I think there's just more passion for that rivalry on that side of it right now. And as sad as it is, and maybe I'm wrong, I have not seen the same type of fight in that game from Illinois in a while. And they were the better team. And Missouri's not bad. I mean, I don't know if they're still ranked, but they were ranked. They're a good team, but that's the reason that loss bothered me. I just don't feel like they feel that rivalry like Missouri does.
Yeah, it wasn't
like we're used to.
Yeah, when we grew up with the bragging rights, that was huge.
It was huge. It was national TV. It was the Saturday before Christmas, or 2 Saturdays before Christmas, whatever. That was must-see television for not only our region, but for a lot of the country. And this, the last few years, it's been pushed off to regional television. And this year was, I know this year was a little different because of COVID and football going on, but it was supposed to be on the alternate channel for the SEC network. And, again, that's because of football and everything, but still, it's just the idea that that's where this rivalry has come to is, it's getting pushed off that low. And it is what it is. Neither program has been very good. This is the best Illinois team we've had in a while, on paper at least. They haven't really shown it, but so yeah, that loss does sting. The Ohio State one, it's bad, especially because it's at home, but I can live with it. But they can't afford to lose games like that again.
No, because that Baylor one doesn't bother me.
No.
But they played well against Baylor up until that last 8 minutes, 10 minutes. So
they played with them.
That's what we.
Then they went and beat Duke, which I know it's not the same Duke team, and there's a lot of issues with those schools that are freshman heavy that weren't able to, work out and stuff over the summer. So there's a lot of reasons for that. But anytime you win at Duke that's a big win. So that was the last time we talked, right? We talked right before the Duke game, I think.
Yeah, but people forget we're young too. Even though we've got some. No,
we are, but we're not reliant on freshmen like the Dukes and the Kentuckys of the world. That's what they bring in because everybody else leaves. Illinois is young, but they only have 2 freshmen in their rotation.
Right, and then we talked about that. The main guys we don't rely on, but Corbello's a freshman.
Yeah,
you look at Miller's a freshman. So these guys you want them to make big shots and make big plays. They're freshmen.
Yeah, you can't expect them to. They're not Cade Cunningham. They're not coming in. They're not that type of player. They both do have the potential to, to get to levels. Maybe like an IO is, but they're not there yet. We can't expect them to be there. They need a little more. And people have said it, and I heard somebody else mentioned it on Twitter or whatever. I think they do miss Andres Feliz. I think he was the type of player that I'm not saying he was going to make or break them beating Ohio State, but that kid played with a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, he was a bulldog, and that's the type of player he was, and they could definitely use something like that for sure.
And then I go way what ifs. Now, if we got in the tournament last year and we made like a Sweet 16 run or something, and then they played like this, I think I'd be more frustrated. But we have to remember they don't have this tournament experience.
Right.
That's why right now I'm not as frustrated as some people. I'm just frustrated with the talent not playing to their talent.
No, I agree.
But if this was a Duke team that's made the Sweet 16 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row,
No,
then they play like this, then I'd be like, just pump the brakes. But
no, I'm with you. I agree. They shouldn't be losing 2 in a row at home.
Did you see Brad Underwood's press conference? That was a good one.
I saw some of the notes. Some people were tweeting about it, but I didn't watch it or anything. What did he say?
Oh, I just saw snippets. They showed one clip, and then later saw another clip. It was all over the place. One said, do you guys aren't playing very tough? Is that the right thing to say? Like, they're not playing very tough, not playing together? He gets mad, looks at him and goes, yep. And then sat there and they said, so how do you fix it? He goes, it'll get fixed.
I agree.
He had a Nick Saban moment where he just looked at him and said, yep, it'll get fixed.
It's true. I mean, they just don't look like the team that they should. I mean, sure, we had high expectations, but I think they were reasonable expectations. So
they're reasonable. It's just they're reasonable to where, like, if we were undefeated right now, we'd be all on cloud 9. But some Illinois fans would be like, yeah, we had these high expectations, but we lost 5 games. We played in the best conference in the United States in basketball.
Yeah,
we're not experienced. We didn't go to the Final Four last year or the Sweet 16. They didn't get to play.
Yeah.
So we're riding off of this win streak at the end. So you need to give it a moment.
They'll get it together.
I hope so. And then maybe it was because Brent Bielema was there. I don't know. Maybe it was Flip Flop Friday. I don't remember.
We don't need to get on that topic.
That's the other thing. It was mainly Brad and Nathan, and I kind of chimed in every so often. We figured out how to fix Illinois game day on the podcast. That was a good half-hour, 45-minute rant.
Yeah?
Of how to fix Illinois game day.
How's that?
Well, we talked about trying to bring a Bills Mafia-type mentality. Maybe the horseshoe needs to be like $15 tickets, and we get guys in overalls and boots and Miller Lights and put them right there, right next to the Northwestern fans.
That would help.
Breaking tables out and outside, having midget wrestling with the tables for pregame.
I love it. Sign me up.
Nickel drinks like the White Sox, like just bring that in.
That's great.
And then at the very end of it, he was like, did we just solve game day for Illinois to get more fans? And so we were like, we got to tag Josh Whitman in every tweet now from now on. Like, hold on, we figured it out.
That's good.
Oh, that's the problem is we get on like a half hour before I record. We figure out what we're going to talk about. We get to what we're going to talk about, but in between, something happens. So we're talking. See, the very first thing yesterday was Bama and Ohio State because we all three didn't get to talk about it. So let's just recap it for a second. I wanted to ask him about Nick Saban. Well, then all of a sudden we started about Illinois. Then we started talking about fixing Illinois game day. And I said, guys, we haven't even talked about Alabama yet. Because I asked them about if Nick Saban's going to retire. Is that why he was crying at the end? Everything was just built up. He's so happy for the team. But does he know he's going to be done? Because Sarkisian was agreed to be the next head coach.
Right. And they let him go.
Well, they said he couldn't pass up the Texas job. They were actually like, you can't pass that up. And so I was like, is he going to be done here in a couple of years? Is that why he's upset a little bit? Like, this is going to be done?
Maybe in a couple of years, but not now.
No, but like maybe he's 69.
Nice.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, he's the perfect age. He cried because he had COVID twice, beat COVID. The team went through this.
Yeah, of course. It's emotional.
But I guarantee you that next day, he took a vacation till 6 a.m. the next day. Then he was like, all right, back to work.
That's what he does.
Because in the book I read about him and LSU.
let me ask you this: why is he in Aflac commercials? Why
You know,
why is he doing that? Does he need the money?
well, yeah, you got to pay for that beach house of his and that boat, and I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I seriously, I want to know. Like, I just
Is
want to
it to
know
grab
why.
people? Is it to grab people's attention?
I don't know.
Is it to get? I think that's. I honestly think it's to get all of our sports attention. Like, oh, it's Nick Saban, and then like to prove that they're the best, they can get this winner with all the rings. Because I want to be sitting down holding his rings. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why.
that could be. I don't know. I've seen that commercial pop up a few times, and every time I see it, I'm thinking like, why does this doesn't seem like a Nick Saban thing? Why is he doing this?
Because he's loosened up in his age. Like back in the day, he would
Sure.
never do this.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm sure he's getting a very nice paycheck for doing that, and it probably required him to spend all of one day to shoot 3 commercials or whatever he did. And he made a pretty penny to do so. So I don't blame him. I want to know why.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good Google look up. Is why does he do that?
I wanted you to have the answer for me, Steve.
Well, he hasn't returned my phone calls, so I don't know.
Okay.
He doesn't text, so
Well, whenever he does return your phone calls, make sure you ask him and let him know that I was curious.
well, he doesn't text, so I can't get a hold of him through text message. I think he just learned how to use a computer during
Probably.
COVID.
Because he had to do Zoom calls all the time.
Zoom calls, and then he talked about his email, like his secretary does the email, and he had to do it for the first time, and he's like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
We talked about recruiting. We were like, "How is Nick Saban handling recruiting during COVID? Because you can't travel all over. You can travel to some."
Yeah.
And so we just came to the conclusion that everybody else texts us for him, and then when they're close, they set up the Zoom, and it's his face, and he's like, "Hey, come to Alabama."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay."
Pretty much.
Like, I'm real. This is real.
This is really happening.
Have you seen the video about his shoes? Like the wrong size shoes?
No.
Brad found this video and sent it to me. It was like a month or two ago. It shows him walking onto the field, and he walks up to somebody and he goes, My dadgum feet hurt. Somebody gave me the wrong size shoes for practice or something. And he goes, who do I have to fire? Because my feet are killing me. And he's getting like mad. And he's like, who am I going to have to fire? Who in the athletic department am I going to fire? Because they gave me the wrong shoes. And then he goes up to like Smith and he goes, I just had this hip replacement, right? So if I wanted to guard you one-on-one, I would. You ain't getting past me. He's like, this hip is good to go. I'll just swing it and then get you. And he's laughing a little bit. And then he comes back. He goes, I'm serious. I got you. I was like, oh, God.
Huh.
The shoe thing is hilarious. Like it goes on for a few minutes and he's just going off. And it's hilarious. And then the person filming is just filming his shoes. It's just his shoes walking and he's yelling.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's funny. It is hilarious. There's something else I thought of Nick Saban, and I can't think of it. Besides his daughter getting in rants with people on social media.
She's a fun follow on Twitter.
Especially when LSU week rolls up.
Yeah.
And Auburn. Ooh, she was ruthless with Auburn.
Did I ever tell? I have an Alabama sweatshirt. When I was in college, it was just a fun thing to do to walk around campus and just say "Roll Tide." So I have an Alabama sweatshirt. I don't wear it very often, but
I have 2, and I have 2 T-shirts.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I do it to stir the pot.
Of course you do.
Well,
that's what I do. When I was living with a roommate a few years ago who was a big Michigan State fan, and it was one of the years the Michigan State was good when they had whatever his name was, a quarterback. And during the playoff selection show or whatever they call it, he came out of his bedroom that morning to watch the show, and I had my Alabama hoodie on because they were going to be the 4 seed and the 1 seed or whatever it was. So just to piss him off. So.
Well, see, I was a Nick Saban fan. That's the reason why I never owned anything. I just watched because I'm a Nick Saban guy because I'm a coach. I like how he coaches. I liked him before he won, so I was watching it before. And then people kept giving me a lot of heat. And so to piss people off, I was like, let me wear this Bama hoodie around.
Yeah.
Let me tweet Roll Tide all the time and just make people mad. And it works. And then people are like, but you're an Illini fan. You can't be saying this. And I was like,
who cares? The ESPN Roll Tide commercial is one of my favorite commercials in all of television. Roll Tide, Roll Tide.
oh, people get mad. One of the coaches who talks to me, sometimes he's a Florida fan. So anytime I tweet Roll Tide, he has to send me a message and say, stop.
Of course.
And then say something about Alabama. And I'm like, well, beat them. I don't know what to tell you.
Can't beat them, join them.
Well, like Bill O'Brien's the new OC there.
Yeah.
That's someone else we talked about. I was like, oh.
Yep. It's what he does. Brings in people.
Yeah, they get baptized and give their life to the good Lord Nick Saban, and he can get them a new job. Hallelujah.
Praise baby Jesus.
Praise baby Jesus. Nick Saban's house.
It's funny.
He'd be a good one for the podcast if he could figure out how to use a webcam.
Yeah, good luck with that. I think you got a ways to go before you're grabbing Nick Saban.
I need to get to that 1,500 mark episode, like Joe Rogan, and be like, oh.
Am I your only return guest not named Brad Miller and Nathan West?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know if they're recurring guests. It's just that little segment. But like, if you want to talk about guests, yeah. So you have your own intro.
I'm honored to be here.
We can make your segment. We can call it the
I like Geek Corner.
Yeah, we can every so often once we get updates from Disney or Marvel or whoever.
When you want to talk movies and Marvel stuff and whatever, I'm your geek.
If it wasn't for COVID and I still did this podcast, we would have a lot to talk about. We would have a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah. We would have seen a lot by now. But alas, here we are. We had nothing.
Yeah, you're my expert because I tried to watch that Disney Investor Day thing.
Yep.
One, I didn't know where to watch it. So I went to YouTube.
Did you just follow my tweets? I mean, I had enough information out there.
I did.
You were just read what I was putting out there, and they didn't watch it.
You were my first go-to. I was like, I'm just going to read the tweets. And then a part of me was like, well, I'm just going to put it on my tablet or whatever. And so I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, well, I don't know where to watch this. So I was like, let me go to YouTube. And people were streaming it onto YouTube, probably illegally, but they were streaming it nonetheless.
You could watch it on Disney's website. All you had to do was search Disney Investor Day, and it came up.
I did, but every time I did it, it was just like YouTube. And I was like, okay.
I don't know.
And so I'd watch YouTube, and some of it I didn't care about. I was like, where's the Marvel stuff? I could care less about.
They had a lot going on. It wasn't just all the exciting stuff. They talked about Hulu and ESPN Plus, and they talked about some of the international stuff, and they talked about Disney and Pixar and Lucasfilm and Marvel, and they talked about everything. They had a lot to say.
Well,
that whole thing.
I was shocked. I was shocked about the ESPN thing. I keep forgetting that Disney and ESPN are a thing. They're intertwined. Stephen A. Smith has a show now on there.
Yep.
They're going to have their own betting thing, kind of like FanDuel and DraftKings. They want to do that. The Star Wars TV shows kind of threw me.
There's a lot. They are really diving in hard to Star Wars, and
I'm nervous. The only one I am okay with, The Mandalorian, like we talked about. I love season 1.
They started off strong with The Mandalorian. I mean, if they can produce that type of stuff, that type of content all the time, I mean, it's great. What the thing about so here's the thing with streaming services. Now that we're fully in Geek Corner,
yeah, we have to ease into it. We have to talk. Illinois.
Have to, if you run a streaming service, if you run Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or Disney Plus, you have a lot of different ways to draw people in. Disney's strength from the very beginning was we have loads of content from your youth and from your childhood. We have all these classic animated movies. We have all this stuff from Disney Channel. Plus we have all the Marvel catalog. We have all the Star Wars catalog. So they have a lot of that stuff, but they didn't have a lot of original content. Then they brought in The Mandalorian. But the thing with how you run these services is that you have to be constantly keeping people with it, because this isn't like cable where you lock into a cable contract, you're locked in for a year or 2 years or whatever. You can cancel your subscription to Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu anytime you want. And there's a lot of people that do that. They subscribe when Stranger Things is on, and then when Stranger Things comes off, they unsubscribe. I mean, that's pretty much how that stuff works. So if you're those companies, you have to be constantly producing content that's going to keep people there. That's why, like HBO Max, when they announced that they're going to do all the movies simultaneously between the theaters and on HBO Max, there's going to be like one every month. So if you're one of those people that wants to see all these new movies that come out, you're going to have to be subscribed all year long. You know, and that's the same thing with what Disney's doing with these TV shows. If you're a Star Wars fan, you can't just subscribe for the 2 months that Mandalorian's on and then unsubscribe, because now there's going to be new Star Wars content coming out every few months. And same with the Marvel stuff. That's how this stuff's going to work. If they're going to keep people logged in and subscribed and keep those dollars coming in, then they have to be constantly producing this content so that people don't unsubscribe and they lose their money.
That's a good point. I think I was just overloaded because I was like, okay, they got the Disney movies.
Yep.
They have to do this. Then I was like, oh, we're going to do Star Wars. There's going to be 10 series. And I'm like, you just and there's more than that. By the time I was watching it, I couldn't keep up. I was like,
and did you notice that it was mostly all Disney Plus stuff?
It was all, yeah.
There was 2 movies they announced that are happening at some point. The Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadrons one, and then there was one more that I know Taika Waititi's working on one. Like, they have other theatrical releases coming for Star Wars, but most everything that they announce is all Disney Plus shows, which, I mean, whatever. If it gets people going to streaming, that's their focus, and they've been very upfront about that. I mean, streaming, Disney Plus is their focus right now. You know, they probably even said that before the pandemic started, but that's where unless it's and we talked about this the last time, unless it's a big tentpole blockbuster movie, it's probably going to go to streaming. You know, it's probably going to go to Disney Plus. The big Disney animated movies, the big Pixar movies, the big Marvel movies, the big Star Wars movies, the big live action ones, the Jungle, Emily Blunt, like that stuff will go to theaters. The stuff that they know is going to bring in a lot of money. Anything that's probably going to ride that line that may not be a hit at the box office, that's just going to go to streaming, and it's going to draw people there, and they're going to use that strategy. So,
I mean, it's really smart when you think about it. Like, it's extremely smart. But then for us, I like it. Don't get me wrong. Like, okay, this is cool. It's different. But part of me is like, no, there's just something else I have to subscribe to, something else I have to worry about.
Yeah. We used to complain that cable costs too much money, so everybody started ditching cable to get all these services. And now you have all these services, and they keep adding these prices up, and now you have to have everything. I mean, I don't necessarily pay for all this because some of it comes with different things that I have, but I mean, I have a subscription to Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Prime. Plus I use YouTube TV as my cable, you know, so like I'm paying for all that stuff individually, or through another subscription or something. So it's no longer, people were complaining because their cable bill was $200 a month, but well, when you add all this stuff up, you're still paying $200 a month. You can just cancel it at any time.
And people, this happened to me. You also pay for internet. You got to figure out where your internet's going to come from.
And you got to make sure you have a strong enough internet and fast enough internet.
Yeah, because we use AT&T internet, which people bash on, but it came with our phone. So like they said, okay, phone bill, you can take like 10 or 20 bucks off. So instead of it being $60 a month, there's Hazel. Yeah. Instead of $60 a month, it's like $40. So I mean, we get the fastest internet AT&T offers. Yeah. Anybody listening? We have a 92-pound chocolate lab. And we live on the first floor, so when someone walks by, she has to protect the apartment.
Of course.
Where I don't.
She does.
And I always, this is how I stop her. I just go, "Are we in danger?" And she like looks around, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
anyway.
we have internet we use Sling TV because we're not huge TV watchers anymore because of the streaming. I use my parents' Xfinity login for the sports,
And
but the moment they get rid of that, I'm screwed.
that's how I'm that's how I'm getting HBO Max, because my parents buy HBO, because my parents live out in the middle of nowhere. So they don't have access to high-speed internet. So like when my mom wants to watch something on Netflix, she has to go somewhere else where she can download it to her iPad and then plug it into her TV, because they can't get that type of stuff. So, but they pay for HBO because they were big in Game of Thrones when that was out, and they're still paying for it because they watch the movies and stuff. So because of that, I'm able to get HBO Max. But if I wasn't doing that, then that's another $15 a month I'd be having to pay for. And at some point, like,
Yep.
I just can't. Disney Plus was free for a while with my Verizon subscription, and Apple TV is right now is free with my Verizon subscription. I just got the Discovery Plus or whatever they're calling it, so that Alice could watch some, Chip and Joanna Gaines and some Food Network stuff. And but again, that's through Verizon. So once that stuff stops with the free subscription through Verizon, then I'll probably be dropping some of this. But that's just the model we're living in right now. Everybody has their own streaming service, and CBS is another one. Peacock, NBC has their own. Everybody wants in on it.
Yeah, I have the free one for Peacock just to see. The free one's actually not too bad. That one,
I haven't used it much.
It's not bad. And then what's the other one? There's another free one I looked at. It's not too bad. They have this Game Network show, and Bill Engvall was a game show host. I completely didn't know that, and that's where I found it.
I liked his show. He had that show on TBS several years ago. Didn't last very long. I think Jennifer Lawrence was on that, actually. I think she played the daughter in it. I liked that show when it was on.
Did you know Kevin James had a show?
Kevin
Queens? Can't Wait.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. Yeah, what's that on?
We found it on Amazon Prime. Are we in danger? We found it on because she pays for Amazon Prime. She just pays the year, and it's on Amazon Prime. She found it, and so we were just like,
"No, I haven't seen it."
There's only 2 seasons. It got canceled after 2 years, but watching it's pretty funny. It was like in 2016 or 17.
Okay, I think I remember that, but I never watched it.
Yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, like Sling TV, it's so weird. It has the orange and blue.
Yeah.
If you get just one of them,
$20, right?
If you get one of them and the DVR, it's like 30.
Okay.
Or 35, I can't remember. If you get both and the DVR, it's like 45 or 50.
Yeah.
But I just need it for you get Bears games.
Yeah.
And I need my AMC to watch The Walking Dead and Better Call Saul. So I was like, it's on here. That's what I need. Because they have their own streaming thing too, but it's still on cable.
Right.
Which is weird. And I'm scared for the Peacock TV because we watch The Blacklist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it'll still be released on TV.
It will be. That's not something they'll get rid of.
But it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
For now.
And they're going to get rid of it.
Once their contract runs out for that, they'll get rid of that too. Netflix was king for a while because they were the only person in the game, so they could get in all these, sources, all these shows and movies from outside studios. But now all the studios have their own services. Those are going to be pulled from Netflix, and then Netflix's catalog is going to be strictly Netflix stuff. So,
well, that's why like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds just finished their movie. Yep. That Red Note. See, they're going to get like The Rock.
Did you see the trailer though? Not the trailer, but that ad they had that they showed all the movies that Netflix is coming out with this year. And that's the stuff that they're going to be doing. That's why they spend a ton of money to get big name people to do movies and TV shows for them and miniseries and all that stuff.
Because who did it? Correct me if I'm wrong. It kind of started with Adam Sandler. He was like
Sandler has a big deal. I don't know if he was first necessarily, but yeah, he signed a big deal with them. A lot of actors and stuff are now.
Because he has a big contract with them, and of course you have Stranger Things. Mark Wahlberg has Netflix movies strictly through them.
Yep.
which shocked me because he has his own thing with HBO.
Martin Scorsese, of all people, is doing Netflix stuff now. He had The Irishman came out last year, and he's involved in a couple more projects that were put on the service this year. So, I mean, that's where the money is.
Yeah, but yeah, we have Sling, Netflix, Hulu, and then I paid the year for Disney Plus in March, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out because it's gonna be up soon. Because we were in quarantine, and so I was like,
Of
just
course.
pay the month. I was gonna do that in ESPN Plus, but like I wasn't a fan of ESPN Plus. Like
I
it's limited.
I don't use it as much as I should. They combined that with the old ESPN Insider stuff, the stuff from the website, like some of the stories that you could read, or like fantasy football stuff, like used to be Insider, which used to be paired with ESPN the magazine, but now that's paired with ESPN Plus. So that's part of the reason why I use that. There's a few shows on there. Peyton Manning show is actually really good. I haven't seen every episode of it, but Peyton's Places is good. But that's just the easy place if I want to watch Southern, or somebody else is playing on a game that's not on one of the major networks. I don't use ESPN Plus as much as I use the other services, but because it's part of that bundle, it really doesn't end up costing you that much money. So
Yeah, because we talked about doing the Hulu Live TV,
yeah,
or it was either that or do the Hulu because it came with ESPN
yeah,
and Disney.
yeah.
But we just decided not to.
I got into the my first streaming, well, not like Netflix, but like the the cable alternative streaming was actually PlayStation View. PlayStation had their own streaming service. So my roommate at the time talked me into it, and we got that. And because I went from having satellite when I lived with my parents, and then when I went to college, I had cable in the dorms, and then I had cable 1 year in my apartments. But so basically, after like my junior year of college, I haven't had cable.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I, my last year there, and then when I went down to Florida, I don't think I had it, or at least I didn't use it much. And then since I've been here, I haven't had it. I didn't want to pay the, $100 or whatever it was. But then I got on PlayStation View because it wasn't that expensive, and it gave me all the channels I'd want. And so now I use YouTube TV. But I mean, it gives me all the local channels I want, gives me all the ESPNs, Big Ten Network, all the Disney stuff, MTV. I also watch The Challenge. That's on there now. Food Network, HGTV, AMC's on. Like, it has everything, So it's the price keeps going up. As I said earlier, it's gonna just go back to what it was when we were paying for cable all the time. But it is what it is. I like YouTube TV though. I switched to that when PlayStation View got canceled.
Yeah, our neighbors just moved, but we visited them months ago when it was like safe to see people.
Yeah.
Like you stay away from people, but you still could
over the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
When people could be outside. Yeah.
Because they had just got their house, so we just went to go see the house. And
Yeah.
they said they had just got Hulu Live TV and they liked it.
Yeah.
When I lived in Charleston, my 1-bedroom apartment, the rent included everything. So it paid for my water, my electricity, I had cable and internet. But then when I lived with Moose, we had DirecTV. That first year, it was like $100 and some bucks.
It's always cheap the first year.
Yeah, and you had NFL Sunday Ticket for free.
That's how they get you.
But when you have two people paying for it, it's like, okay, well, we each pay like $50. And then the next year, it's like, all right, now it's gonna be like 200 and some, and you don't have an NFL ticket. So he called them, and he was like, I can't pay this anymore. I need your bottom level DirecTV or whatever. They told him the price; it wasn't good enough. He goes, all right, I'm leaving. He goes, well, why do you want to leave? So he lies. I have a family to feed. I just can't afford it anymore. So they go, well, hold on a second. And they come back and say, we'll give you the exact same one for another year because they didn't want him to leave.
That's what they do. A lot of those people, those type of places and services, you can basically call up and talk them down to the point where you can pay the cheapest amount possible. They just, I think they just want somebody to talk to personally.
Well,
but yeah, you can, that's something you can definitely do.
Before we move on to WandaVision, because that's the whole point, I think, was Comcast and Xfinity is outrageous.
Yeah.
Like people are paying $200 and some dollars. And then when you call them to get a different one, this is what they tell you. Well, your current subscription no longer exists because we've updated. So our cheapest one is like 200 or like 180. And that's with stuff that you don't have already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're used, because I'm not going to tell people what my parents pay. They pay a lot. Yeah. And the only reason why they haven't gotten rid of it is because they're used to it. They're used to, they get certain things for free. They get unlimited DVR. They get this. They get this. They have the they talk into the controller. Like they love that. They just could say whatever. And then another thing, some streaming services, you get like channels. Is that like on YouTube TV, like channel 5 is this? Okay.
Right.
Because some streaming
there's no channel numbers. That's the biggest difference between cable and satellite and the streaming services is that you get all the channels, but there's no number. So you can't just type in channel 311 and go to whatever. Like you have to scroll to find it, or you put it in your favorite. Like you can make it work, but there's no channel numbers.
Right. That's because some of the people, like our parents' age, I read that they said that's kind of why some don't leave their cable, even though it's expensive. They pay for it because they're used to it.
It's hard to make that switch for people that have been doing it for so long, for sure. But it's cheaper, and if you can just accept the fact that it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, it's also tied to your internet, so you might have to pay more for internet, or if your internet goes down, then obviously your TV goes down. But you know, if you're a satellite person anyway, then you're used to satellite going down. Mm-hmm. So,
back to the Star Wars. The only one I'm excited for that I'm not worried about is the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. What scares me about the Star Wars is the last 3 movies, because they were, now don't get me wrong, as a fan, like we all were kids, as a fan, I'm like, yes, I like these movies from the fan perspective, but with them battling back and forth of how the storyline was going to go, different directors, that's what I like about Marvel. It was like, yeah, you can make this movie a certain way, as long as you get point A, point B, and point C somewhere in there, I don't care.
And that's not what Star Wars did.
No.
That sequel trilogy was botched, and I enjoyed all 3 of them just as a fan. I'm also not like a super diehard Star Wars person, but I enjoyed all 3 movies. But I understand why people despise what they did. I really love The Force Awakens. I think that was a great re-entry. Yes, it was also just kind of a rehashing of A New Hope. Let's be honest. But I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. Then I thought The Last Jedi, my take on The Last Jedi is that it was a really good movie. Maybe the best, I don't want to say the best, one of the best movies inside the Star Wars universe. However, I think it was a bad Star Wars movie, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like it just didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. I really liked what he did, and had that not been a Star Wars movie, I thought it would have been really good. And then when they gave J.J. Abrams the keys again, and then he went back on every single thing that Rian Johnson did, and it was just a mess, the last one. So, I don't know. I enjoyed all 3 of them, but I agree with you. I think that they botched that. The Mandalorian has been good. I've been pleased with what Favreau's been able to do there. Have a consistent storyline, know where he wants it to go. So if they can keep that up for these other projects, then I feel a little better about it. But yeah, the way that they handled the sequel trilogy was not good.
The Force Awakens, I liked it until the Harrison Ford scene. Then I was like, now you've lost me.
Yeah,
I get it. I get
fair.
it. Like, he kind of was done anyway.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
That threw me.
Yeah.
Like, I literally in the theater stood up and I was like, what the hell did you just do?
Yeah.
And then I left the theater.
You walked out of the theater after that? Or did you wait till the end of the movie?
No, the end. So the movie's over. No.
I thought you were going to say you walked out after it happened.
I thought about it. I thought about it.
Right on.
because I love Harrison Ford. So I was like, you
Yeah.
can't do this to me.
He's old, man.
He is old.
He's still do another Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Like, he can't give that up because they wanted someone else to play it. They wanted Chris Pratt to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. I got this. And I'm like, you're 80. Let's just take a step back.
Let's do it.
No, I walked out of The Force Awakens, went home, and I was like, where have I seen that movie before?
A New
Like,
Hope.
that was the first, and I was like, thought about it. And I was like, yeah, there's a New Hope. So I was like, okay, but I get it. At the time, I was like mad. I was like, oh my God, they stole it. And then I was like, no, this is kind of how they have to reintroduce it. This is kind of where they want to go. And I said, okay. Then the next one, I was like, is this going to be Empire Strikes Back all over again? And it kind of was, because he found Yoda, she found Luke, and this and that. And I'm like, this is Empire Strikes Back. It exactly was like that, except Luke was an idiot. So like she had to do that. So then I said, is this going to be Return of the Jedi all over again? And it kind of was.
Yeah.
But it's because there was no direction after Force Awakens.
It was a struggle. They botched that whole thing.
But I get what you're saying. J.J. Abrams made a good movie for that third one. It was a good movie.
It was entertaining.
But it wasn't the right story.
The end felt just like a scene I had seen in a movie theater a few months earlier at the end of a long run of superhero movies where all these portals open up and then all these, people come in to help fight. And it's the same exact thing that happened in Star
I couldn't imagine where they ripped that from.
Yeah.
That's what scares me about Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars person, like huge.
I get it. I understand the concern, and who knows? We'll see what happens. They're not all going to be good. Let's just face it now.
And then what? They're going to make more movies?
There will be more Star Wars movies eventually. Yes,
that's what scares me. That's the one that scares me. Now, if they go off on their own,
okay. Star Wars needs to get away from the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, if
there is a huge universe, and you haven't got there yet, so I don't want to spoil everything because I know you haven't finished season 2 of The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian to me felt like it was different. It had its subtle little tie-ins to the movies we had seen before, but it was different. And then something happens that all of a sudden it becomes tied in again. And that was my biggest thing. I'm like, I just think Star Wars, there's such a big universe and such a long timeline to work with, yet we keep focusing on this same 50, 100-year period with the same group of people and the same lineage. And I understand you need the fan service part and you need to have some tie-ins. I get that, but there's just so much you can work with, and yet we're still focusing on the same characters, the same storylines, and I just want something different. So we'll see. Some of it will probably be different. Some of it won't be. Who knows?
I think they stayed with that timeline because I know for me, I like to see the big lightsaber battles.
No, I agree.
So I think that's why for the theatrical version of movies, they have to keep it that way. Now for the TV shows, I think they can go off because it's like, oh, we don't have to make a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's a half hour. It's 45 minutes. And it's a streaming service. So it's not like we're depending on the movie theater. We're getting the money when they sign up for Disney Plus anyway.
Right.
Because like for The Revenge of the Sith, I loved it. That's one of my top Star Wars movies because of all the battles.
It's a good one. I agree.
Empire Strikes Back to me is one of the top because I like the battles, and Return of the Jedi. So I think that's why. But I agree. They need to. I think that's why you see the streaming or the TV shows. But it's going to go right back to it because you got the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. It's going to go back.
They're going to keep feeding into that same timeline, which is fine. I mean, I get that there's more things to explore, and that's what people want to see. And if people want to see, Ewan McGregor coming back and Hayden Christensen, I understand that. But like, there's part of me too that just wants to see something different, and they have really yet to give us that. The Mandalorian was kind of different, but at the same time, it really wasn't. So some of it will be different. Some of it won't be. I don't know what these new movies are going to be. I know the Rogue Squadrons one will obviously be tied in to some degree. If Taika Waititi's making another Star Wars movie, who knows what that'll be. I don't know. There's a lot out there to explore, and Disney Plus is going to try and explore every single nook and cranny in the Star Wars universe that they can find.
Yep. I also think it's hard to not.
They paid a lot of money to own and have the rights to the Star Wars universe, so they are going to cash in just like they are with Marvel, and they're just gonna. And Fox, the entire Fox catalog. I mean, that's why they pay that money. They don't pay billions of dollars just so they can release another Star Wars trilogy and be done with it. They are just going to keep cranking out material until people stop watching it, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're trying to live on the Star Wars from when we were kids and like parents went and saw it.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do.
Of course.
It's
a multi-generational thing.
Like when the Toy Story 4 came out, I think they were pulling at. They knew we were all adults now, and they're gonna. I saw a thing that might be a Toy Story 5. They're thinking about that.
They will probably never stop making those.
And no offense, I liked Toy Story 4. Don't get me wrong, but like Toy Story 3, the way it ended, I was like, that's the perfect ending.
Toy Story 4. You're just bringing out all of my hot takes here.
That's my job.
Some people have sports hot takes. I have hot takes about geeky movie things. Toy Story 4 was a great movie. Toy Story 4 should have had a different title. It should not have been Toy Story 4. It should have been Woody's Redemption, a Toy Story story, or something along those lines. The fact that I didn't like that they named it Toy Story 4. I feel like the trilogy ended with 3. Mm-hmm. If you want to give Woody a send-off story and make it kind of like a side adventure type of thing, that's fine. Because that was a Woody movie. Yeah. The other characters were hardly in that movie at all. I mean, that was about Woody and Gabby. I mean, we got new characters. We got more Duke Kaboom than we get Buzz Lightyear. So it was a great movie. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely one of the best movies of last year. I think it should have been a different title. I think it should have been something other than Toy Story 4. That's my opinion.
And how do you think about Chris Evans?
Lightyear?
Yeah.
He's going to come back. He's rumored to come back for the MCU too.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my hot takes because the first hot take I had was him being Buzz Lightyear. Part of me is like, no. Now, I know they made that movie a long time ago.
He's not supposed to be the Buzz Lightyear that you know. He is playing the role of the character that the Buzz Lightyear toy was based off of.
Okay.
That's essentially what he's supposed to be doing. The idea is that Buzz Lightyear was maybe not a real person in this Toy Story universe, but he was a fictional character of some degree, and then they created a toy from him, and that's what the Buzz Lightyear we already know is. This is a different. I don't know. It's hard to explain without actually seeing it, and who knows what they'll actually do with it. But that's the way I understand it. Is that people are upset? Like, that should be Tim Allen doing this. I'm like, okay, well, Tim Allen's old, and we're not doing an old character here. Like, he's supposed to be a different thing altogether, almost, but yet having the same name. I don't know. It's kind of difficult to explain, but
no, it just tugs at our childhood. Like, Woody's always Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And Buzz Lightyear's always Tim Allen.
Did you know that there are pretty much only 2 people that voice Woody in movies? Well, Tom Hanks voices Woody in all the movies. But did you know that when Woody is in video games and some of the other like made-for-TV things and stuff, do you know who voices Woody? Tom Hanks' brother.
No. See, I thought it was Tom Hanks.
No. Some of the video games and stuff, it's his brother. He sounds similar to him, and his brother doesn't do a ton of acting, but when they need some of that other stuff that they don't bring in Tom to do, they pay his brother to voice it.
That must be
That's
nice.
fun fact, huh?
That's the thing about that Avengers game I'm playing. It doesn't have the
Yeah,
original.
it's not the MCU characters.
No, but their voices are similar. So whoever they did actually similar, especially Thor. Thor's the closest one. But they took the comic versions of them.
Yeah, it wasn't licensed by Disney to do that. I don't know how that whole thing worked, but it's not a Disney property.
I'm just glad I got it before we get another NCAA football thing going on where they're not going to make it. I was just glad.
Yeah. That might come back, though. I'm still banking on that it does.
I hope so. Like, I got the Avengers game, and I got oh my gosh, I can't see it.
Spider-Man?
Jumanji with The Rock in them. That's a video game.
Video game of it. Really?
Yeah.
You are so big on The Rock that you're getting his video games.
Yeah, and for Christmas. So for Christmas, I didn't know these were picture books. There's Kobe Bryant, The Mamba Mentality. I thought it was just like him, but it's this big book. But he made it. He wrote it. It's pictures of him throughout his life, and he writes about it on the page. I'm like, this is a collectible. I'm keeping this.
Yeah.
Then I got the same thing on The Rock. It's his whole life. I'm like, this will be a collectible too.
You got your DVR queued up for his show that starts next week?
That one I'm not big on.
Why not?
Because he's not in it.
Yeah, he is.
Is he a character in it?
I think so. He's something.
Oh, I mean, well, it may be. Like,
it's about him. And he's doing something in it. I mean, I know he's like producing it, but I'm pretty sure he's also acting in it.
I guess I have to give it a chance because what's that wrestling movie, Fighting with My Family? That
Great
one,
movie.
I watched it. Well, I went to watch it at first. I didn't watch it until like a year and a half ago because I forgot about it. But then I saw it and I was like, I want to watch this because the promo shows The Rock when they meet him. So I was like, oh, The Rock's in it. I got to watch it. So at the beginning, I'm like, well, where's The Rock? And then The Rock shows up. I'm like, okay, here he is.
It's a small.
Well, I went into it with this thing of like, oh, The Rock's going to play a big part. So once he disappeared, I was like, this movie's awful. But then I was like, no, actually, Steve, this is actually a really good movie.
I really enjoyed that
I really
movie.
like it.
I was pleasantly surprised. That was just a random. I remember it came out in February, and I just went to the theater on like a Sunday afternoon. And I'm like, I'll see Friday with my family. And
you know who shocked me?
Kind of blown away.
Who shocked me in that movie because I didn't know he was in it was Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Loved it. He was great in it. I'm like, great. This fits you perfectly. Vince
Kicked
Vaughn.
Off a great year for Florence Pugh too. She had that. She had Midsommar, and she had Little Women. All last year, and then she was supposed to be in Black Widow this year, but that'll come out soon, hopefully, maybe.
There was something before.
Fighting with My Family, great movie. I cannot wait until we have our show to talk about Jungle Cruise, because that combines your favorite thing, The Rock, and my favorite thing, Disney World, and it's going to be great. I cannot wait.
I'm gonna have to take notes during that one, so I can remember.
It's gonna be amazing. And Emily Blunt, I love Emily Blunt, so I'm all in, man. We're gonna have a special edition of Geek Corner just to talk about Jungle Cruise.
The Geek Corner Jungle Cruise episode. So was Chris Evans actually signed back into the MCU? Because
I mean, I haven't seen anything confirmed on that, but that's what the rumor is. But then he said something like "news to me" or something. So,
and then he said, "I like the reactions." Then he tweeted something like, "I love the reactions."
Yeah, I mean, my thinking on it is that I think he will come back to some degree. I don't think he's going to be headlining his own movie. I could see them bringing him back, similar to what they did with Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man. Something like a mentor role. I could see him popping up in maybe a show. They have the Captain or the Miss Marvel movie coming up, or TV show. I could see him popping up there. I've seen people talking about that he could pop up in Black Panther, because that's an interesting thing that I'm not sure what they're going to do with that movie, because that's a different conversation. But the point is that I think that he will come back and just pop up in various things, but I do not think you're going to get another Captain America movie with him headlining it. I think he'll just kind of come in and show up in different roles as kind of like a mentor type thing. Or, and I saw, were you the one that made the comment or shared something about the him putting the stones back or whatever. Yeah, I've seen that a few people talk about that. I like that idea. I could see that being like a 6-episode mini series on Disney Plus where he travels through time and returns the stones or something. So I think he will come back. I think it'll be something lesser than headlining a series of movies again.
Yeah, when comicbook.com says it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of that Brandon Davis or whatever. When they start talking about it, I'm like, okay, it might be. Yeah. He has the best job.
The source is legit. I mean, Justin Kroll is legit. He's the one that tweeted it out, and he had the report on it. So I trust him, and I think that Chris Evans' tweet was probably just blowing smoke, probably because it wasn't supposed to come out. So I do think it's true. I think he will come back to some degree. I just don't think it'll be a major. I don't think we'll get another Captain America trilogy or even another Captain America movie, with him at the headline. But
no, one, Brandon Davis has the best job at comic.com, I think.
Yeah.
No, I said that too. I said he won't have a movie. It's going to be Spider-Man, a miniseries. But then I saw someone say it could kind of be like Robert Downey Jr. because technically Civil War was a Captain America movie. Yeah. Technically.
No, it was.
They said, what if he comes back and does that? And I said, but that's actually a huge role, though. That's a huge...
He could do a variety of things. I think that since they're opening up the multiverse, I think there could be some sort of, I think there's a version, and I'm not a big comic book person, so all of this information that I have is from stuff I've read from other people, but I guess there is a storyline in the comics where there's like an evil Captain America that works with Hydra. If he wants to come back and play some, not play the good boy, the good Captain America role, he could play a villain type of thing if he wanted to do that. So I think there's plenty of opportunities for him to come back to some degree.
Maybe he'll be in Doctor Strange.
He could. I mean, they're already loading up that movie too. They're about ready to start that. So,
well, they started filming and then they got locked down in the UK.
Right. They're shooting Spider-Man now. Do you see that Spider-Man is going to be a Christmas movie, or at least take place at Christmas time?
I didn't see that, but I've just seen how, and you need to correct me because I can't keep up anymore. It looks like Spider-Man is going to be a big movie because someone spotted Tobey Maguire walking onto the set.
Spider-Man is rumored to have Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina, who was from the original trilogy, played Doc Ock, and Jamie Foxx from Spider-Man 2, who played Electro or whatever his name is.
Then they just had the guy that plays
Daredevil is in it too.
He just filmed it.
Yeah,
he just filmed his scenes.
Again, I don't know to what degree these people are going to be in this movie. There's no confirmation out there that says they're going to have major roles. But yeah, it sounds like all of these people are going to be showing up. And
Doctor Strange is in it.
This movie is supposed to come out in about 12 months or so. So
they're filming it. Yeah. At least they're filming it. Doctor Strange is in it, I think. I think he'll be at the end.
Yeah, I think he'll have something to do with it, especially if it's going to be multiverse related.
I think I have a theory.
Okay.
You'll see Benedict Cumberbatch at the end of WandaVision.
I agree. He'll come in. He's going to be tied into it somehow.
Because it does tie into his movie, but I don't know, does it? But I was like, you can't tie it into the movie without either him being in it, or at the end, he is referenced.
Oh yeah, that's how it'll get tied into to that movie.
Or Wong is in it at the end.
No, there will be some sort of connection because that's what this is all about. That's what's going on in WandaVision. I know you've been antsy to talk about it. That's what's happening in WandaVision. It's something to do with the multiverse. Did you ever see The Truman Show?
Long ago. And
one of my favorite movies, Jim Carrey. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting with WandaVision. It's kind of got a very Truman Show-esque feel to it where Wanda is the center of this thing that's happening, and these other people are inside of it that are aware that this is about Wanda, but Wanda's not aware that this is about Wanda.
That's where I'm getting confused because we can go right into it or talk about other things because we don't have
whatever you want to do. It's your show.
We don't have Black Widow, which makes me mad. They're hoping that it comes out in May. And it might come out after the United States.
Well, I think what's going to happen with Black Widow, and So this is what I said the last time I was on your show.
Don't worry, I'm going to release this episode this week, I think.
Let me recap. The last time I was on your show, I had said my prediction was that Black Widow would probably go to Disney Plus or have some sort of hybrid release between theaters and Disney Plus. Well, then a few days later, they had the big investor meeting, and they basically said that they are going to keep Black Widow as a theatrical release in May only. I think that's going to change again. I just don't think we're going to be ready to have that movie at the theater by itself. So I think you are going to get a hybrid release. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be similar. I think it's probably going to be a simultaneous theatrical and Disney access, whatever they did with Mulan. You can pay if you can go see it in the theater, you can pay to go see it in the theater, or you can pay to watch it on Disney Plus. This is not Mulan. People are going to watch it, and they are going to have to watch it if they want to know what the hell's going on in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's going to be setting up those because I think Florence Pugh's character is going to show up in that show. Which is why they switched these releases, because Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out. That was supposed to be the first Marvel TV show to drop on Disney Plus, but that was also supposed to come out after Black Widow. So it was supposed to be Black Widow and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, because those were going to tie into each other. And then WandaVision was going to come out later because that tied into Doctor Strange. But when they had to push everything back, they were able to move WandaVision up because it doesn't have a direct tie-in to Black Widow, but now they can't keep pushing off because they basically want Falcon and Winter Soldier to come out pretty much right after WandaVision, or at least here in a couple months. So they're going to have to give us Black Widow before then.
Well, on this release page, it says Falcon and Winter Soldier is supposed to come out in March, and then Black Widow is going to come out in May. So is Black Widow? Well,
then if that's the case, which that's probably true. I don't know. I'm not in on.
It might have been one of those situations where Black Widow doesn't lead into Falcon. Maybe it's just there's a tie-in somewhere.
There's a tie-in. There's absolutely 100% a tie-in to those shows. I don't know what it is. I think it's Florence Pugh related. It's very obvious that she is going to take over the Black Widow mantle, and ScarJo will be gone, and it'll be Florence Pugh. I believe there's some sort of I'm assuming there's some sort of tie-in between Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I keep wanting to say Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
So if an episode comes out each week, because it's set up perfectly where I think Falcon comes out later in March, so maybe by the time Black Widow comes out, then those episodes that are going to appear.
That could be true. But I don't think they're not, the point of what I'm getting at is they're not going to be able to stick to their theaters only, because we're not going to be ready by May to do that. So they're going to have to put it onto Disney Plus too. People have to pay $30 to watch it at home.
Oh, I would. Then I'd feel bad the next day.
Because you spent $30 on it?
Well, I'd be happy if I'd be happy when I watched it.
Yeah.
And if I could keep it.
And it'll be on, if they do it like Mulan, you pay for it and then it'll be on your Disney Plus.
Okay.
So that's how they did Mulan. And I'm going to guess that that's how they'll do this. It may not be 30. They may drop it down to 20. But either way, if they do it like that, once you pay for it, it'll be forever on your Disney Plus account. So as long as you subscribe to Disney Plus, you will be able to watch Black Widow.
And what they could do is then if you unsubscribe for some reason and want to come back, it's gone. You've lost it.
Could be. I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what the rule with that is. My guess is that it's probably just hooked into your email address or whatever you have the account for. That's probably it. But
so was Black Widow supposed to be phase 4?
What are we in now?
This is phase 4.
What was Black Widow supposed to start the newest phase?
Yeah, so
are we in phase 4 now? Did Endgame end phase 3? Is that how it works?
And then
Spider-Man technically ended Phase 3 or whatever.
which I have not watched.
You ever watched Spider-Man?
No,
You need to watch Far From Home. It's not on Disney Plus though, because it's not a Disney movie.
that's
So
why.
you're gonna have to find it elsewhere.
Well,
I'm sure you can rent it for just a few dollars now.
I need to go Blu-ray and rent it or something. I don't know.
You can probably rent it on Prime.
I'm the only person that still probably uses Blu-ray
I
or Redbox. I mean,
use Redbox. Family Video, RIP. I would still go there. I still have. I mean, I have hundreds of Blu-rays and DVDs behind me in this room. I don't use them as much as I used to, but I still go to Redbox. Far From Home is. I'm sure Far From Home's at Redbox, but
that's another movie I've had to like avoid
what?
for anything like spoiling. Like I've had to avoid.
Far From Home, you can. Oh, you can only buy it. You can't even rent it. Is that right?
That's how Sony gets you.
Prime Video. I don't know. The point is, you can watch it. You need to go see it. I mean, it's not like earth changing or anything, but yeah.
But yeah. So because when Wandavision came out, they said we've officially started off Phase 4. Like that
Wandavision
intro.
is now the beginning to Phase 4.
So that's why I was wondering. I couldn't remember if Black Widow was still Phase 3.
No, Black Widow's Phase 4. Although it really doesn't matter because Black Widow is going to take place back in time anyway. So, I mean, if you're looking for a timeline, it's not really going to fit in there. But
It's right after Civil War, basically.
So, yeah.
In between Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah, I believe so.
I just want to see David Harbour in a Marvel movie. That's what I'm waiting on.
I know. You'll get it. I think you're going to get it in May. You might have to pay $30 to do it, but...
And Stranger Things. I just want Stranger Things. I know we're talking about Marvel, but I can't wait for...
There's that rumor floating around that it'll be back in August. That's not a confirmed thing. I know people are talking about that, but we'll see. I think it's definitely possible. My mom just sent me... This is good. This is totally off subject, but it's just something that I just feel like I need to share right now. My mom must be looking through... old things of mine. She sent me an old Christmas list I had. This is I wanted Madden 06.
All right.
I wanted NBA Live 06. I wanted an iPod Nano.
Oh,
I had a PSP because I wanted these games for my PSP and The Sims 2 on PSP. I also asked for an I Am Free. That I did not get. That must have been something that I could do instant messaging on. That was before texting really blew up. So I could apparently send instant messengers on AOL through this little Motorola device. That's fun.
If there's any kids out there, they're like, what is a Nano? What is that?
iPod Nano was... See this? Oh, yeah, because I had one. They were just smaller iPods.
What's an iPod? It's your phone.
God, we're dating ourselves. Oh man, I had my first iPad. I think was actually the iPod Nano. It was really small. I don't know how many songs it could hold now. I could probably hold 20 times that on my phone now. But I had the Nano, and then I had I bought a. It's a long story, but I bought a. One of the big ones, iPod Classic or whatever, that was in color, and you could store movies and stuff on that. I had one of those, and then I eventually got an iPhone, so I haven't had to use it anymore. But anyway, that's a sidebar that I just felt like I needed to share because I saw the Madden and the NBA Live. I'm like, that's awesome. 2005, baby. So anyway, what were we talking about? Marvel and Black Widow.
Yeah, I think it was. I just said David. Then in Stranger Things.
David Harbour. Stranger Things. Yeah, that rumor I saw is August. Again, I don't know that that's confirmed.
I've seen where it was like maybe November, December.
I was hoping for a Christmas theme, but I don't know that that's happening.
I think that's why they keep saying November, December because they've done Halloween,
4th of July, and I was thinking this was going to be Christmas, but
because what was season 2?
I don't remember.
It came out in the summer though, so that's what they're
I
talking.
know season 3 was 4th of July, and season
Yeah.
1 was Halloween. So
Season 2, I think, just came out in the summer, like the beginning of the summer.
yeah, that could be.
But that's what they keep talking about. But then, like, realistically, it may not come out till next year.
Yeah.
Because, well, that was the whole thing before COVID when they wanted to film it.
Right.
David Harbour even came. David Harbour is notorious of giving away hints. And so he said that the Duffer Brothers didn't give him anything about season 4 besides he knew he was coming back. I think that was it.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew. I think there was an interview where he didn't even know. So when they asked him about it, he said, like, oh, I had a great run, whatever. And then when we got the tippet of him coming back, he said we have to be patient because they weren't done writing for a while because they wanted it to be so good. But then COVID hit and everything just kind of flew out the window. And then they were filming at one point, and then they got paused. But now they're filming.
The world we live in.
I'm just glad he's back. I have a theory about how they're going to find him. So in season 2, when 11 is with the sister and she's holding on to Jim Harbour's shirt.
Yeah.
And she closes her eyes and she can see him.
Yeah.
I think that's how she finds out her powers are back. Is something happens where she's upset and she has that note or that whatever, that letter he left or his hat or his whatever. And I think she just closes her eyes. I think all of a sudden she sees Russia or something. And it's kind of like, what's going on? And then sees this guy sitting there. Because he looks different. He's going to have no hair, no facial hair. And
I could see that happening.
And then she's like, where is he?
I'm probably going to need to go back and rewatch the other seasons before the new one comes out if it's going to be that long, because I don't even totally remember.
Oh, I do.
Last season was the 80s or the mall stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm your guy. Because
it's a great show. It's one of my favorites, but I might need to go back and revisit some things before.
I watched season
one. It had the song, the Never Ending Story.
Yes.
Oh, man. That was so great. That was such a obscure moment on TV that I just loved every second of.
Well, because David Harbour had tweeted out, like, when it got released, he tweeted the picture of the dragon or whatever from Never Ending Story talking about the season. And at the time, you're kind of like, before you watch, it was like the day before, and he tweeted or put it on Instagram, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then I just thought, oh, he's just talking about the timeline they're in. Like, that's when that movie was probably out. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And then when that scene happened, I was like, oh my gosh, now it all makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. That was so great.
And then my other theory is the doctor from the beginning, what's his face plays him.
Doctor. I don't remember.
In the first season, the guy that's chasing them from the lab.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can't picture his name. He's a famous actor, and I cannot. Yeah. He's alive. I'm certain.
Yeah, probably.
Because he got attacked, but they didn't show him.
Right.
So he's alive. I'm excited for that. I'm a huge Stranger Things. Like, I remember everything. I have watched the seasons like twice each or something. Except for the David Harbour scene. Like, I can't watch it. Once it gets to that point, I like turn it off. I'm like, nope, I don't need to watch that.
It's such a great show.
But then once I saw he was alive, I was like, oh.
Illinois is still in the top 25. And their game Saturday against Michigan State was postponed.
Already?
Michigan State's had some COVID issues this week. I saw that yesterday. Illinois is 22. People are keeping them in the rankings. Anyway, yes, love Stranger Things. It's definitely one of my favorites. I know you love your boy David Harbour. I'm not sure that I own a single thing that David Harbour's in. And I have a lot of movies.
He was in The Equalizer.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Newsroom?
I've seen episodes of that, and that's where I remember him from.
He's in The Newsroom. I like The Newsroom. I know a lot of people don't like The Newsroom. He's not like the main person in there by any means, but
he came later, right?
That was the first thing I knew him from. Was that? It was 7-8 years ago. Probably.
If you look him up, he's in stuff that you don't remember, and
I'm sure.
Because he has a different look every time. That's why I have a hard time.
Yeah.
because we've all seen what he does. He changes his appearance every season in Stranger Things. So if you think back to the movies, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or like when he popped up in what was that movie that just came out with Hemsworth this summer?
Extraction.
When he showed up in that,
Yeah.
I was in awe. I was like,
Oh, he's in Suicide Squad. I do own one of his movies. I own Suicide Squad.
oh, when he came in to that and he had to fight Hemsworth, I was like, oh, David Harbour, don't do that to yourself. You're in flip flops trying to fight Thor. Don't be doing that.
Yep.
That's another movie they're gonna make, and they're supposed to go like backwards.
Suicide Squad?
No, Extraction.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna make another one.
Extraction was good.
Well, the Russo brothers can do no wrong after Marvel.
Yeah.
And that car scene, did you see how they filmed the car scene?
Yeah.
It was all in one shot.
Shot, baby.
And they had to be on the back.
It was
And that's why it's filmed that way.
It was so good.
So, WandaVision.
Yeah. Jump right in. You lost?
I am super lost because it's not going the way I thought. And the reason why I say that is I knew the first 2 episodes they weren't going to give us nothing. They were going to give this snippet. That's why they released 2 episodes. I was like, they're smart. They know what they're doing. I told people, they're like, other people are confused too. So they keep asking me. They're like, what do you think? Like the teachers I work with that are Marvel fans.
Yeah.
And I said, well, do you guys know what it leads into? And they said, no, so they don't pay attention to it. And I said, the Doctor Strange movie, you know, the multiverse of madness, it leads into that. I said, because if you go back and watch the first Doctor Strange, it talks about all these different universes and this and that. And then you kind of see it in the quantum realm that is going to tie in somewhere along with Ant-Man later on.
Yeah.
And I said, so I think because she's supposed to turn into the Scarlet Witch, she hasn't done that yet. Right? She's in the comic books, like.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I mean, she's been Scarlet Witch. I don't know that they ever call her that. Because they don't really. Some of those people, they don't really call them by those names. But
yeah, I saw like, and I don't know if it's true. I just saw like, well, okay. So in this episode, spoiler alerts, people haven't watched WandaVision yet. I guess spoilers. Like when that guy pops out of the drain, that beekeeper.
Yeah.
There was an article they wrote and they said, if you're a true Avenger, no matter what happens, you go take care of that problem. She didn't. She made it go backwards. So they think she's just kind of lost her goodwill soul because of Vision being gone.
Yeah.
And this is how she transforms into the Scarlet Witch, because she's a villain.
Yeah.
As a Scarlet Witch.
Well, she started as a villain when she came to the MCU.
Right. And then the Scarlet Witch is supposed to just open up these other powers that she has. And so there's rumors that in Doctor Strange, she's the villain. And Doctor Strange has to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because she's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's probably true for the most part. I think she will be more or less the villain of Multiverse. But I don't know that it's necessarily because I don't think she's just going to be... Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
She should be the villain.
She's going to be the one that essentially opens up the multiverse.
Right. I think that's where she's the villain. Yeah, that's where she's the villain of like Doctor Strange knows that if you open these up, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think we didn't really get much in the first 2 episodes of WandaVision intentionally. I think that that's what they're they didn't want to give us too much. But I think we're just kind of slowly starting to piece things together because she also doesn't really know what's going on.
Well, that's kind of where that's where I think my theory is wrong about her opening up multiverses, just because of how this is going on. Like, this doesn't look like a multiverse anymore. Because then you're hearing Wanda, who's on that radio. Wanda,
I don't think we're in the multiverse right now. I think that we are in some sort of, I don't know if it's her mind or where we are, but this is clearly all being projected by her, and she's very clueless because there's the whole exchange at the dinner table where her boss or his boss and her wife or his wife are asking questions, you know, where you come from, you know, when you get married, all this stuff, and they don't have answers, and neither of them knows why there's a heart on the date. It's all in her mind, and she doesn't know what's going on, so she's just kind of piecing things together. I think that's what's going on. I think this whole show is taking place in her head.
Well, and then I don't know if I'm just an idiot. In the first episode where it showed the end of like the TV show for them and it zooms out and it shows that TV with all the stuff around and somebody with the remote.
Yeah.
Was that just part of the credits or was that actually a part of the show? Like this is what they're looking at?
No, somebody's watching. That's why I think it's kind of like a Truman Show kind of thing. I think somebody is. I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to be tied in, but it's intentional that they haven't given us much.
And then this is why I shouldn't read articles. They said the voice on the radio is the FBI guy from Ant-Man because his name is.
He's going to be in the show, Randall Park.
They said that's his voice.
Yeah, it could have been. I didn't think about that. But yeah, he is supposed to be in the show, and also the girl that she sits next to during the
Captain
Country
Marvel.
Club is from Captain Marvel. Yeah.
And then, did you see the watch at Hydra, and that's the doctor's name? So they said that's trauma. So that's why it could be in her mind because that's the trauma. And then Stark Industries is trauma of losing Tony.
Most of this, at least I think a lot of this is just going on in her head, but it also could be some sort of Truman Show thing. I don't totally know where we're going with it. Again, that's intentional. They don't want us to know. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. They're different. They weren't, not a lot happened, especially in the first one. I like the idea of using, old sitcoms to, kind of tell the story. And I thought it was unique. I didn't get a lot from it, but that was the point.
And then I got more from the second one because that neighbor of theirs is very interesting. I think she ties into what's going on. The helicopter, I was trying to look at the logo on it because they were showing that pretty good. And I'm like, I don't know what logo that is.
That was on the back. That logo popped up 3 times. It was on the guy that came out of the manhole.
Yep.
It was on his back or whatever. And I believe it was also on the desk of the guy during the first episode at the end when they, as you mentioned, when they zoomed out and he's watching the TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
That logo appeared there somewhere too. So it's all the same thing. I think it's Sword. It was before she. No, I don't. As I said, I'm not a big comic book person, but it ties into that.
Yeah, I wish I knew the comics because that's what they're pulling from.
Yeah.
So I just have to rely on websites.
I think it's better that I don't know the comic stuff, just because I kind of like to come into it blind. Like I feel like if I knew all the comic books, then I would know everything that's happening. I think I prefer it like this better. But yeah, in terms of like looking things up and stuff, then yeah, you're having to rely on what other people are telling you.
And so that's why I don't know. A part of me is like, is this the multiverse? And then they said
it could be. I think it's definitely possible.
Then they said the reason why they say if you look from the first episode into the second episode, there's almost like a time jump.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a time jump. Not a ton.
Well, they said, and I don't know how true it is. Again, it's grain of salt. It's moving by decades, and that's why they turned into color at the end because they're going through the motion of TV.
Well,
because it was black and white back in the day. Now they're going to be in color, and that's why she's pregnant because it's jumping ahead.
Yeah, no, that's probably true.
And they think that's why it's in her mind because this is the life that she wanted. She wanted to have a kid and do this.
No, that could be that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, obviously I knew they were jumping ahead with the style of show. That makes sense, though. That would definitely explain a lot of things. That's probably how they're doing it. How many episodes are there supposed to be? Do you know?
9?
Sounds right.
8 or 9, something like that. And then
somebody brought it up to me. They're like, "Do you think there's going to be a sequel to it?" I'm like, "It's not how this works. This is a mini series. Like this is not like they're not going to do a season 2 because season 1 goes well. Like this is basically a movie inside the Marvel universe that is." 4 hours long or 5 hours long that they're breaking up into 20 or to 9 episodes or whatever. And that's going to feed into, the Doctor Strange movie and that type of stuff.
They stole that from the Duffer Brothers on Stranger Things. because they came out at Stranger Things the first season and said, this is an 8-hour long movie, because they filmed it like a movie, and they said that's why each episode of Stranger Things, you don't, like The Walking Dead, for example, when an episode ends, the next episode that comes out the next Sunday doesn't pick up where the last one left off.
Right.
Stranger Things does. It literally picks up. So they said it's a movie, we just split up into 8 episodes. And that's what WandaVision is. And they said that, they straight up said that about the Falcon Winter Soldier. They said, this is a movie that we just split up into 8 or 10 episodes.
These are mini series. I mean, they're just,
And the guy that plays Vision is a great actor. Love him.
Bettany. Mm-hmm.
He said that it's going to end with a bang. He said there's an actor he's wanted to work with and hasn't gotten to yet that he's about to. And that WandaVision will end with a bang. Like huge. And I
can't wait.
Doctor Strange is going to be in it. I'm telling you right now.
Too long since I've had any MCU content. So I'm just excited to have it. I'm excited it's back. Can't wait to see where it goes. Give me more. Feed me all of it. What do you think about, how do you like the one a week thing as opposed to what Netflix does and drop it all at once?
I'm torn because Stranger Things literally sat there in 1.5 sitting. I watched like the first 6 or 7, then the next day finished it.
Yeah.
I would do the same with WandaVision.
Oh, absolutely.
So a part of me is like, I think that's why I don't watch The Mandalorian at first. I think I just wait because I wasn't dying to. So it's weird. The Walking Dead, I can't do that with. I have to watch it on Sundays. Mandalorian, I didn't because I think I knew it wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
So a part of me, though, I like waiting because now we can have these conversations and I can think. But then a part of me is like, no, I have to know because of what little they gave. I think that's the thing is how much little they gave us.
Right. They want it to be, the phrase water cooler talk, but it's an event. Like everybody, you have to tune in every Friday and see what's happening. And if you do it all at once, then yeah, you release it on a Friday and everybody watches it that weekend and they're all talking about it on Monday and then it's done. And then you don't have anything to watch on Netflix anymore. You have to move on to the next thing. At least now with the way they do these, it's every week and you have to be tuned in for it. And then it'll be the next show that comes out after that.
And it helps with their filming because now they know, like, not saying right now they're still filming and they're done, but it gives them a good timeline of like, this has to be done, this has to be done. It's like The Walking Dead, like on TV, they give you the first 8 in a normal world without COVID. Between October and like November, you get 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. While we're watching those 8 episodes, they are still filming the next 8 because it's 60 episodes.
Yeah.
So I think when they do it this way, it helps them with filming because like Stranger Things, they have to film all of it before they do anything. So I think in the future, it gives them a time, like if they grow as big as they're saying and it goes from being an 8 episode series to 16 for some reason.
Stranger Things?
No, like Marvel, like in Disney, like if they decide to do something like that,
yeah,
it gives them more time to be like, okay, we can get these 5 done, edited. And while these are getting released, we can be working on these others, or while these are getting finalized, we're filming this. And just in case another COVID thing happens, we know that we have at least this much.
Right.
Because that's what Walking Dead had to do. They had to stop. They had everything filmed. They had everything filmed, but the last episode, the season finale, wasn't done with music and cutting. And then COVID happened, it got shut down. So it was done filming, they just didn't have it ready. So we had to wait like 2 or 3 months before they released it. So that could be why they want to do the week by week, just in case something happens, to where they could say, oh, we have 5 episodes done. You guys are going to get the 5 episodes within 5 weeks. But due to COVID, we had to shut down. You're not going to get the next 5 for a month.
And who knows? I mean, we could see more of that with the way they do it. It's always changing. I mean, they're adapting to things, and it'll be interesting to see how they do some of these releases now.
But somebody was talking to Olsen, and I can't remember his name, the guy who plays Vision.
Bettany.
They were interviewing him, and then they had different people ask questions, and then they were like, all right, so we have somebody from London, and they didn't know it was Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
and
I
he just
saw
choked
that.
there. I think that's why he's in it. I think he's in this TV show.
Well, I mean, Tom Hiddleston showed up, and they had a few people that did that. I know exactly what you're talking about. A few of the Avenger people showed up for the thing. You could be right. I do think there's some sort of tie into it, but I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily related. I think they had a few dropped in to do that.
Then I guess side notes, Chris Pratt and them showed up for the set of Thor.
That's going to be a big movie too. I'm excited for that one. I loved Ragnarok. I love Taika Waititi.
And then what was the other one? I don't know. There was another movie I was about to say when they talked about it.
I don't know.
I don't remember. What's the Eternals about?
Did you see Guardians 2?
Yes.
So his dad, well,
The Celestial.
yeah, basically it's about Celestials.
Okay.
They're all Celestials. It's outer worldly. I have no idea how it'll tie into everything else, but they are all Celestials.
Well, and Angelina Jolie is a character in it. You have to worry because you don't know.
It's a very interesting cast. I have no idea what to expect from that movie. Again, we should have already seen it by now, but COVID. It's a great cast, but it's a strange cast. Again, I have no idea how it's going to tie into everything else, but I'm here for it. Bring it on. Let's go.
I remember. Loki. That trailer, I was like,
it looks good.
God. Oh, yeah. God. And it's already season 2. Like, I think they're going to make a season 2 already.
Could be.
And so my question is, what's that supposed to tie into?
Well, as far as I know, I think it's supposed to be what happens. So during Endgame, when they're going back and getting all the stones, and there's the whole run-in at Stark Tower or whatever with Matthew Berry. Remember the scene that Matthew Berry shows up in? Yeah. And Loki's there, and then he disappears, and then you don't see him again the rest of the movie. I think it's going to tie into what he's doing there and causing mischief, and who knows. I don't know what all they're going to do with it, but I think that's where it's going to pick up, essentially.
Because there was a picture
Loki who's out there in the universe doing stuff. And
well, because that's a whole different timeline, too. That's not even where we're at.
Right.
So that's why I'm wondering, is it going to tie into where we're at now? Or is this going to be one of those things that...
No, yeah, that took place during the original Avengers movie timeline. So I have no idea. I'm excited for that show, though. I do think it looks really good. But I have no clue what that movie is going to be about.
And there was that picture of him standing in front of a destroyed Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then what's his face is in it? I
don't remember who else.
Olsen. Oh my God, I'm getting old. What's his name from Wedding Crashers?
Oh, Owen Wilson. Yeah.
Owen Wilson.
Yes. Also, did you see that Matt Damon's supposed to be in Thor as well?
I saw that this morning.
And he was in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
He had the very small role as playing Loki or whatever in the stage show they were doing. But I love Matt Damon. So that movie already has Hemsworth and Natalie Portman and Chris Pratt and some of the Guardians, and Christian Bale is in it.
Yes.
That looks tremendous. I'm in. I can't wait. I need all the content. Just give it to me. Give it to me now. Feed me.
I'm excited because it's going away from the stones. Kind of like we just said about Star Wars. It's still like the same timeline, but it's about to drift off.
Different things.
I just am afraid of having new Avengers. But like
keep adding more people.
Because like I don't know. Like I'm just a big Doctor Strange person, so I'm like, okay, he's there, I'm good. Thor is still around, but eventually they're going to phase him out. But he plays a huge role. It's just not going to look the same without Iron Man or Captain America.
which apparently may not happen anyway. Captain America still might be coming back. So
Right.
I don't know. They're obviously going to keep making these movies as long as they can, and they'll bring in people and get rid of people, and eventually some of these actors are going to get old and won't want to do this stuff anymore. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm here for it though.
I'm here for it, and I think Spider-Man and Doctor Strange just open things up.
Yep.
And I think that's what kind of leads into the Ant-Man 3 and that quantum realm. And then there was a theory, I cannot remember the villain's name, but Thanos was supposed to have made this guy with the stones. So if something ever happened to him, there was somebody there to...
Could be.
And I'm afraid of that one because then it's going to tie right back into Thanos.
Galactus is the name that I keep hearing. I think it's the one they brought in, Jonathan Majors, to maybe be him. And I don't know if he'll be the new big bad or not, but I don't know. Obviously, they have a plan, and now they're confirming that Deadpool is going to be involved at some point, and I love it. I love Deadpool. I want the Fantastic Four. I want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
I think
in the Fantastic Four. I want it now.
He's talked to them, so I think it's going to happen.
I think it's possible, but we'll see. And then Ben Affleck was making comments about how Kevin Feige's the greatest producer in film. Maybe sounds like he wants to be a part of it. Who knows? Everybody wants in on this stuff.
And then Tom Hanks said Marvel will save the movie theaters.
Yeah, it's true. That's the way people are going to go there and spend money. I went to the movie theater twice, actually, the past couple weeks. First time I had gone all years other than Tenet. And I saw a movie 2 Fridays ago, and there's about 3 other people in the theater. And then I saw a movie this past Friday, and I was the only person in there. So, but yeah, theaters, they need to come back. I miss going to them regularly. And
that's not a thing in Illinois.
Huh?
That's not a thing in Illinois.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to live in a place that I can. But again, I haven't really needed to or wanted to. I used to go to theaters all the time. Before COVID, I probably went to 3 or 4 or 5 movies. And then since then, I went once during the summer and then the 2 times the past couple of weeks. So it's crazy, man.
Anything else on Wandavision? Because
No, we need more. I need more. I know a lot of the media got the 3rd episode to preview, and I've seen that they revealed a little bit more in episode 3, but not really a ton. So no, I'm just excited to have Marvel content back and something else to watch on Fridays, and just counting down the days till I can go see Black Widow in a theater, or if I have to see it at home, I have to see it at home. I had to watch Wonder Woman at home. That was fine. I would love to go see it in a theater, but I do live in Indiana, so I can technically go. But
you can, we can't. Yeah. But that's why I agree with you that they might just bite the bullet for at least just Black Widow. And this is how they should word it. They should say, for this one time, for this movie, we're going to do it on Disney Plus and theaters.
And I don't think anybody's going to expect them to change the total landscape of how things are done just by doing that. I don't think that's going to set a precedent that every Marvel movie after that is going to get a hybrid release. Obviously, if it does well, they might consider that, but I don't think there's any chance that it does that well. So, but yeah, I think they're just going to have to do it if they want to. If they didn't have these other TV shows and stuff to crank out, they probably wouldn't be as concerned about it. But because, as I said, it's going to have direct tie-ins to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're going to have to. So,
and they can't delay that anymore.
And Hawkeye. I think there's going to be a tie-in to Hawkeye, too, because I think Florence Pugh's tied into that, and that's a little ways down the road. I think that's supposed to be later in the year, but they can't keep waiting, and we're not going to be in a position where we can open up and expect millions of people to flock to the theaters. So That's where we're at.
And if you delay Falcon just because you have to delay Black Widow, a lot of people are going to unsubscribe. Once they're done watching WandaVision, they're going to be like, well, I'm going to unsubscribe. You're going to lose that money for a month or two.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that's all in my head. I mean,
Yeah. I think we've covered a lot.
yeah. And then we'll have to wait a couple episodes into WandaVision.
We'll find out more. We'll have more to talk about.
When Benedict Cumberbatch pops up, I'm going to be like, Logan, now.
He might. It probably won't be till the end, though. You got a few weeks before that.
I hope you just see a portal open up and Wanda drops down and Wong and him are standing there and they're like, what have you done? Yep. And then that's how it...
I could see it.
I think Vision dies again, like he disappears because it's like, he's really not here. Because he has the stone and it's like, no, it's gone.
Yeah.
Then I think you're going to see the portal open up. She falls through. Like after everything is solved, like who's done this? She falls through and he's standing there with like stuff going on, like fire and stuff, and be like, what have you done? Like the earth is shaking, stuff is breaking through the clouds. Like, what have you done?
I love it. You just wrote a whole scene and I'm here for it, man.
I hope. Or like even Spider-Man standing there with him. That'd be a big thing. Like, what have you done?
That'd be cool.
And then we get the Spider-Man movie of how they've come together at the end. And then it ties into WandaVision and then Doctor Strange.
I love it. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
All right. Well, that was a long one, but I knew that was going to happen.
Fine by me. I got nothing to do today.
Oh, I've got podcasts today. Oh.
You got plenty more work to do.
Yeah, I'm working without working.
Attaboy. Keep on grinding.
Oh, I'm going to do mine 8 or 9 this week, and then I'm going to be like, nope.
Good stuff. Well, good luck.
Well, thanks. Everybody listening, stay safe. Watch Marvel.
WandaVision every Friday on Disney+.
And that intro showing the Endgame scenes on the thing, I loved it.
Yeah.
I had to pay attention to it. Yeah. I looked at it, and I was like, what are they going to show? And I've never done that until Endgame because I noticed that people were gone.
Oh, before we go, I want to talk about one thing. It's sad, but I think the time is up. What do you think they're going to do about Black Panther?
I saw they weren't going to recast, which I liked.
I agree. Can't recast T'Challa. I agree. Here's my thing, okay? In terms of natural story progression, Shuri makes the most sense to take over the Black Panther mantle. She does it in the comics. She's his younger sister. That makes the most sense. I don't think that Letitia Wright can carry a whole movie right now. She's said some things that have pissed some people off anyway. So I saw there was some rumor out there that Michael B. Jordan might be coming back, which would make some sense because I think that is a name that could help carry the movie. But that's my biggest thing is, sure, not all of these people that they're bringing in to headline these movies are huge names, but they're bigger draws. And I don't think that Black Widow or Black Panther can even come close to duplicating the success of the first one if there's not a big name drawing people to the theater.
But it's going to make people mad because we saw him die. So it's going to make people mad that he comes back.
But if we're opening up the multiverse, then who the hell knows?
But that's the thing. And then I was trying to think of like, who could you tie Black Panther to? Well,
that I brought it up earlier. Chris Evans. I think there could be a Captain America tie-in there. Potentially. Maybe. Not that he would take over Black Panther by any stretch of the imagination, but he could be somebody like Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man that they come in to, kind of help be that mentor role, maybe to an extent, if they do end up giving it to Letitia Wright or something like that. And that would help, fill some seats probably with giving a bigger name from the universe. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up because it's something I've been thinking about lately.
If they're going to stay in that realm, where like maybe they bring in Hulk too. Maybe just to stay face. Maybe it's like Hulk is there, but see, it's old man Captain America, and how is that going to work?
See, I don't know if he's going to want to do that. I don't know if he's going to want to be in that makeup, the old makeup all the time. I read something earlier. He wasn't supposed to do that. They had brought in actors to be old Captain America, but none of them really looked like him. I just don't think that Chris Evans will want to be in the old man makeup for a whole movie. I don't see that being the case.
They talk about something in the comic book where he is old man Captain America. He disappears for a while. Then he comes back. There's some other serum that can like make him young again. And so maybe because Black Panther has all that technology, maybe that's what happens. Maybe he's a mentor, and then as the movie goes on,
right?
Maybe it's temporary too. Maybe they give him this and say, "Hey, you're going to be young again, but it's going to go back to this."
Yeah.
And you've got him to come in. You have Hulk there probably trying to tie it in because I don't know who you can go off of because like we said, WandaVision ties into Doctor Strange perfectly because of their powers. Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy because it's as Guardians of the Galaxy, like it's going to be that. Black Panther was just supposed to be a standalone, like.
Yeah, I think that Black Panther. I think there are both Shuri and whatever Winston Duke's character. I think both of them, and even if they want to bring back Killmonger, I think they have three options of people that could take over the Black Panther mantle. It's mostly about how you tie that into the story. And if it is Winston Duke or Letitia Wright, can they carry a movie?
And then could you, I don't know, it may be too late now. Could you tie in Falcon and the Winter Soldier somehow because
I think Falcon or Winter Soldier especially. I think Bucky could have some sort of tie-in too, for sure. I don't know. It's just interesting. Just wanted to bring it up since I had been thinking about it.
Yeah, that one's above my pay rate. Like WandaVision, Doctor Strange, I can make up a whole scene in my head, and I'm going to charge Marvel $50,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For my scene.
Great.
They got the money. I don't want to hear them.
Sure, absolutely. You could probably ask for more.
I'm cheap.
They're going to make billions of dollars on your movie.
If they give me, I'll help you up. If they give me $150,000 and pay off my student loans, I will be fine.
Sounds great. Write up that letter.
I'll be like, here's my end scene. Just one scene.
I love it. I love it. Good stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you later.
Peace.